Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're just giving ourselves a couple of seconds for all participants to settle down. In a minute, we will start with our video, Paris Agreement and LGMA, and then we will proceed with the agenda. So thanks a lot for your patience, and once again, thanks a lot for joining us. So let me also show my screen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yunus Arikan. I'm the Director of Global Advocacy at ICLE Local Governments for Sustainability. I'm delivering this presentation on my capacity as the focal point of local government and municipal authorities constituency to the UNFCCC. This is the 21st monthly webinar of the LGMA constituency towards COP26. For those who have been joining in previous sessions, this will be an information that you are familiar with, but for those who have joined recently for the first time, we are running these webinars on a monthly basis. It is usually 1 hour. We are recording these webinars. You would be able to intervene during the session with chat box or question and answer. We usually have, depending on the agenda, sometimes guests in our sessions. But for today, I will be the only one who is presenting, but also try to moderate the inputs from our participants as well. So we are expecting that the presentation will be finished by the 35 minutes or so, and then we can have a discussion and answer. During this time, when I see your inputs to the chat box, I can also react to the extent possible. For example, I immediately saw the very nice feedback from our dear friend Jennifer Leonard from the WWF CDs group, the video that she admired or she liked the atmosphere. So thanks a lot, Jennifer. This in fact was our 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement celebration video. We have provided this upon request from the UK presidency and the UNFCCC Secretariat. This was aiming to capture what has been, how we have prepared to Paris, what it means for us, and what has been done since then. which will be setting the scene for our discussions today onwards, and also our engagement at the COP26 as well. So without further ado, let me proceed with our session today. What we are aiming to have is we will go from the basics of climate COP, how we are engaged in the process, who is who, and what mechanisms we have. We will just review what has happened since the last webinar, and we will spend most of our time for our logistics, the negotiations that is expected, how it will evolve, and primarily focusing on our mobilization at COP26, in particular our pavilion, but also other activities in Blue Zone and the Green Zone as well. So just for you to know, these video and others on the 5th anniversary are available on the ICLE's YouTube, and for the LGMA, as well as all the previous recordings of these webinars are also available for your future references. This session will also be shared with you, the links and the presentation afterwards. Just for you to know, our LGMA COP26 landing page is being updated in the next couple of days, so you would also have access to those previous recordings as well. For a recap, yes, Paris Agreement is important. It opened a new era for climate action at the local level. This is not a new era as such, because we have been involved in this process. We have been raising this ambition for so many years, but obviously there's something significantly different in the UNFCCC and Kyoto Protocol. The UNFCCC was not too much clear. It was a framework. Kyoto Protocol was only for several countries and for several periods, with limited scope, and none of them had any reference to local and regional governments. Therefore, we are very proud of Paris Agreement because it has, first of all, acknowledges that this is beyond the national governments. It also recognized 1.5-degree goal as the ultimate goal to reach, and it defines climate neutrality by the mid-century as the main driver that will ensure we will be under the 1.5-degree goal. And most importantly, this is universal. There are no annexes in the Paris Agreement. There is much more, the global commitment is there. Of course, every nation has a different starting line in terms of their responsibilities in climate, let's say, catastrophic or climate emergency. But the final goal, that climate neutrality, resilient world, is the same for every nation. Therefore, journey will be different, but the final destination will be the same. So in that sense, what we are saying is that of course, national governments have a new responsibility. First of all, they should be preparing their national climate plans, because what they're presented in Paris or after Paris was outdated. None of them were fit for Paris Agreement because they were all prepared before Paris Agreement was adopted. So all have to be done, renewed. And that's why we ask, the success of COP depends on work at home. And that's why we're very happy with some national governments have preparing some updated NDCs. We will touch upon that. For local and regional governments, this is our duty now. It's not anymore a voluntary work. Therefore, every urban climate plan, every subnational plan should embrace Paris Agreement, should declare climate emergency and commit to climate neutrality and ambitious plans for 2030. And other stakeholders, they should also be part of it, because 1.5 goal cannot be done by government activities. All communities should be part of it, especially those who have been outside in this process in the era of fossil fuel civilization. They should be feeling themselves that in this climate civilization, we have a space and they have something to share. They should embrace, therefore they can combine their efforts with the governmental efforts as well. Climate process is a cyclic process. Every year there is a national government who hosts the presidency, and they are the ones who are shaping the outcome, but also responsible for the implementation. For the past 2 years, it is in the hands of all the shoulders of the Chilean government. Since Paris Agreement, we have an additional mandate, which is the climate action champion, Gonzalo Munoz, is taking this in front of, on behalf of Chile, and Chilean government is represented by Minister Schmidt. In the case of the UK, who is preparing to host, they have introduced a number of new mechanisms, like new champions or new advisors on finance, adaptation, and regionally. They have announced Sir David Attenborough as People's Advocate, which is a new type of mobilization. They have hosted or convened several meetings with councils. They have created some councils for the youth, for civil society, for cities, regions, primarily to the UK. Obviously, it is possible to argue the effectiveness of all these bodies, transparency of all these bodies, but we believe it was a worthwhile effort. It was needed investment. So we hope such practices continue, and it would be even more inclusive and much more transparent. We have been participating. For example, I am in the Youth Advisory Committee. Mayor of Los Angeles is in the Friends of COP. So that's what we could at least contribute. The four priorities are nothing new, but you may have heard coal, cash, and cars are the three C's that the UK wants to embrace, and trees with the nature. But more important, there's also the collaboration that we would like to welcome, because this is the second phase of Paris Agreement. It should be much better than the previous one. Traditionally, we are engaged in a year-round engagement in the climate negotiations, but obviously during the COVID, we are adjusting ourselves. So officially, there has been no negotiations. There has been several meetings, but no decisions adopted over the past 2 years. That's why it is important that COP starts with an official process. So we will continue to engage with the relevant bodies. They are Adaptation Fund, Climate Mitigation Adaptation Committees, Technology Committees, Capacity Building, and others. The UK presidency has run several informal consultations. We, as observers, were not able to intervene in all of them, but we tried to contribute. And there were several campaigns to raise the awareness. Meanwhile, climate action champions have run an inspirational campaign. They have introduced new pathways. Human settlements is one of them. We have Race to Resilience, Race to Zero, and Race to Zero breakthroughs, which we all hope these will now feed into the NDCs and the new shaping of the new mechanism in the second phase of Paris Agreement. As constituency, local and regional government and their networks, what we have said that we wanted to come to COP with a view that this will be a multi-level action COP. When we left Madrid, we were a bit skeptic on that. But over these 2 years, significant things have improved. Several NDCs have come up. Several nations have stepped up. So we are saying that time for multi-level action has already arrived. We are in this phase that it is not anymore a dream. It is the moment that we are feeling and experiencing that in this age of climate emergency, in this urban world, multi-level collaboration is the key to successfully deliver the Paris Agreement. And we want the COP in Glasgow to embrace this, to enshrine this in this new era. Several countries are doing it. We want every nation to do this. We will touch upon this as well. Multi-level collaboration is not only for national governments, it is also for local and regional governments. Without the funding from national and federal and global bodies, we will not be able to deliver our commitments on the Race to Zero, on the Race to Resilience. Look at the US. We are all waiting for this $2 trillion budget from the Senate. If this doesn't come, it will be very hard for all urban investments. Look at what's going on in the forest fires or floods from Katrina to Ida, from Vancouver to China, even in Europe, Australia. Those disasters cannot be handled by the municipal budget. So multi-level collaboration is also something that cities and regions also would look forward to get, so that they can commit and they can deliver their commitments. Urbanization, we want to focus on the Article 6, the new finance mechanisms, especially the market mechanisms are examples like Vancouver, Canada, in Canada, Quebec and California, or in Tokyo, urban emission trading mechanisms. This could be introduced as new mechanisms, and those who host those flexibility mechanisms projects, whatever the new name, they should be favored. But more importantly, under Article 6, the non-market mechanisms, especially for the developing countries, if we can plan this, that one of the mechanisms is sustainable urbanization, all these new urbanization projects, not just one by one on one tram line or one housing complex, but collectively, the new cities, the new urbanization. If this can be a non-market mechanism, this could bring value both to the national governments, but to new urbanization communities and to the developing countries' contribution to the climate efforts. Whoever speaks on climate action, it should be just, it should be inclusive, it should connect to from nature to food, from youth to gender, from equity to justice, from migration to the urban poor. We should have all of them on board. And we as LGMA, all the network you see below this line, that also newcomers, we should be able to make a much more robust engagement throughout the year. So that is not just COP by COP, but we should be much more experienced. We should be much more professionally engaged in the regional climate weeks across the world, so that the year-round mobilization is effective and very, influencing to the process. This slide, we recommend you not to code now. We are preparing this for our communications in the upcoming COP26, but this is important. We are all aware there are several nations, like 120, who have submitted their NDCs. Not all of them have increased their ambitions. There are several who have been going below what they have committed in Paris, but there are several who have increased their ambitions. And if you look at them, most of them, around 60 to 80%, they are the ones who have worked with local and regional governments. They are the ones who have implemented multi-level collaboration in practice at their own jurisdictions, at their own national conditions. Look at this. We have from the global north to global south. We have countries like US, Japan, Korea, EU, obviously, but we also have countries from Dominican Republic to Chile, to Paraguay, Laos, countless countries. We're counting around more than 60 countries across the world who have literally brought new NDCs, or in the design of these NDCs, they have used mechanisms for ambitious national ambitions, climate commitments, and that was all because they have listened, they have talked, and they have worked together with their local and regional governments. That's why we want to increase this, and we want this to be the default as the new normal in the new phase of Paris Agreement. What has happened over the last 3 weeks? Obviously, we are enjoying or celebrating an urban October. We have already started with daring cities. We have addressed climate emergency, the frontiers. Thousands of cities now declared their climate emergency, and we want to connect them to those Race to Zero commitments as well, or Race to Resilient commitments. Innovate for Cities just concluded last week. Thousands of people, 5,000 registrations in 1 week, 200 sessions, and the outcome is a revised cities and climate change research agenda. Last week, at the same time, the Biodiversity Convention had its hybrid COP, which is something slightly different than what COP is being experienced in the UK for climate COP, but this was also important. And we have been enjoying the Edinburgh process, and the voice of local and regional governments were raised loudly, and we have been enjoying the second phase of an action plan for cities and subnationals in the biodiversity space, and we hope this can also feed into the climate space as well. So now going more into the specifics, we would like to start with logistics. Unfortunately, almost by the hour, we are hearing new information. That's why it's very hard to track, and it is very hard to provide a consolidated guidance. Therefore, please bear with us, but everyone is almost lost in translation. Everyone is asking each other, be it the national delegations, be it the UNF Secretariat, or even the presidency teams. So it is really a challenge. It is not easy. The conditions are changing. The requirements are changing. Let's recall the latest information that at the beginning of October, the UK government has refreshed their red list. And now those countries who were asked, if they are coming to, who were asked to go through quarantines, they do not have to go to quarantines. Yes, this is nice, but it is not over, because it's very hard for all these nations or delegations to get approval from their official bodies, manage their accommodation, which is extremely expensive, manage their travel, and also on the way back to their countries to secure that they arrive safely, because we are hearing that UK is one of those countries who have the highest number of COVID cases being noticed. So that's for sure that UK is not the safest country on earth in terms of COVID, let's say, cases. Therefore, on the way back, there's already all these delegations would also be under huge scrutiny for their even some quarantines on the way back. So it is a challenge for all of us. However, now let's recall, let's now recall the step by step what we should be thinking about. First of all, those who have received blue zone badges, we're talking about those lucky or privileged participants who are able to enter to the blue zone with their accreditation from their partner organization or national government. There are two important things. First of all, they should sign upon their arrival to the venue 2 documents. One, the code of conduct by UNFCCC. The second is code of conduct on COVID-19 measures by the UK government. This is something that they should abide by, and they will only see this, the texts are available, but the signing will be upon their arrival. Obviously, before this, there are several steps as well. First of all, the visa requirements. It's good that those who have with the blue zone badges, they are waived their visa fees for UK, but they should have done it quickly as much as possible. There should be an application process. Once you have got your visa, before you get on your flight, don't forget, you have to have a pre-travel COVID test. This should be either a PCR or even a lateral test as well is accepted. You should also fill in your forms for passenger locators, what is it called? Passenger locator form, so that the UK authorities can check upon your entry through the border. So these 2 things are an essential requirements. There was original an announcement that upon your arrival to UK, you would be asked to have a 2nd day COVID test. Now, this is being changed as of 22nd or 24th of October. That is just a lateral flow test will be acceptable. And we are hearing the UK government is making available these lateral tests at the hotels or some venues so that you have tests daily. I'm underlining once again, any participant should go and have their daily lateral tests before they go to the blue zone. And obviously, if you are tested positive, and this can be possible because even vaccinated people are seen that they can be exposed to COVID-19, even though they are not hospitalized, they can be COVID positive. In case your daily test, lateral test, is showing a positive result, you have to go to back to your hotel and you have to be quarantined. If you are able to get a negative test PCR in the 2nd day, your quarantine may be over. But these are details that is particularly implementing, or let's say, sorry, influencing participation to the COP, be it the long queues, be it the days that you were planning to be at the COP, but now you are in the hotel. So this makes everything extremely stressful. And we are also recommending that everybody should be prepared for the worst cases and nobody should be surprised. Obviously, it will be a challenge for all of us. So assuming that everything is on the right track and no concern is done, no harm is done, let's be prepared. Whenever you're attending any event in Glasgow, you should first ask yourself, or to your partners, to your invitees, where is this? Is it in the blue zone or in the green zone? And it is not enough, because in the blue zone, there are shades of blues, and in the green zone, there are also shades of green. In the blue zone, our home, our base is the LGMA pavilion. We will go through it. UNFCCC will have numerous sessions. We will go through it in the next slide. And there are several pavilions. So you should try to understand where is this event that you're attending is taking place. In the green zone, there's no UNFCCC registration needed. There's no daily test required, but you should register yourself. And there are several events in Glasgow and even Edinburgh, so that there is a multiple, let's say, plethora of events that is really very hard to track. Here are the several links that could be helpful for us. First of all, the agenda, the official UNFCCC agenda is released, and it's even being updated at the UNFCCC homepage. The interesting thing, there is a UNFCCC agenda, there is the presidency agenda, and there's a Marrakesh Partnership Champions agenda. So it is interesting and important to note that the presidency's priority themes and the champions agenda may not be the same. So there have been, so we don't know how this feed into each other, and we will see probably on site, but there are several differences. The biggest difference may be the leaders summit that will happen on the 1st and 2nd of May. This is definitely not in the hands of champions. This is purely the presidency agenda. On these information notes, we're also aware that we have several events confirmed in the UNFCCC managed spaces. This is important because these side events are offered by the UNFCCC for free, and they are offering the venues, and it's of course a great opportunity. The good news, several of our LGMA members like Climate Alliance, together with their national branches, C40 with GIZ, UCLG, ICLE, Regions 4, and CMR have combined also on their own track, so that at least we have 3 or 4 events, and Climate Chance as well in the UNFCCC side events calendar. That's good news. And then we will have LGMA. We'll go into details in the other pavilions. This is very hard to track because we know a number of organizations, especially those coming from the NGO community or those who have limited resources, had to cancel their pavilions. And several nations also canceled their pavilions because of the high cost, not high, extreme costs, and the difficulty of managing this process. So we are expecting that will be a difference, and we're also aware the official calendars are still not announced by the parties or the organizations who have been scheduling those events. So we still have to wait and see what's happening. So we know, for example, EU Pavilion, Europe Klima Pavilion, German Pavilion, US Center, they all have side events, and the CP Pavilion, they all have side events that are by local and regional governments and their networks. So, but how we will track all this full list, we will have to see. When you come to Green Zone, as we said, the UK Green Zone is immediately next to the venue of the Blue Zone. By the way, we still don't have full map of these Blue Zone and Green Zone. It's 10 days ahead, but we don't know where are all located. Green Zone events, anyone who is by chance in Glasgow, they can go there as long as they register themselves, and they do not have to go through tests, or they do not have to go through registration to the UNFCCC or accreditation to the UNFCCC. City of Glasgow, they also have their website announced with tracking their events either at the Glasgow City Chambers or anywhere in the city. And we are very happy to see all those diversity of events, and Glasgow or City Hall being the host of so many stakeholders, showing that when it comes to delivering climate action, local and regional governments are always in the front and always the reliable partner. Scottish government also is convening, I think it's called Lighthouse. Obviously, Scottish government administratively capital is in Edinburgh. Therefore, in Glasgow, they're also sort of a host, or sorry, guest. But there's good synergy between Scottish government and the Glasgow City Council. And the Lighthouse will be also hosting a number of events. And of course, there will be events in Edinburgh, even Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh venues will also be, governmental venues will also be will be hosting several events. No, many of those accommodation will be, unfortunately or fortunately, be in Edinburgh because of the cost or lack of venue. But be aware, one of the challenges is that the trade unions in Scotland are still not giving up with their negotiations, that there may be strikes on the railways. Those who are in Edinburgh, they should be prepared, long delays if this strike goes on, which definitely will influence the participation to the COP, obviously, to Blue Zone. And one final information about the orientation and logistics is that the capacity is still designed for 10,000 people. This is important because the moment this capacity is about to be filled up, you may be receiving informations that you are not allowed to go into the COP Blue Zone. So you manage to get a Blue Zone badge, you manage to get your visa, you get into without any vaccination problems, you managed to find your money and to secure your slot. But on the day that you are preparing your intervention in one of the side events, you're receiving on your laptop or mobile phone, sorry, the space is full. Nobody's fault, it is what it is. So be prepared for such surprises. Therefore, we recommend everyone get into the blue zone. Those who have even a slot in the afternoon, don't risk. Try to get into the blue zone as early as possible. But there's no guarantee, because the rule is first come, first serve, which is a bit interesting, but it is what it is. So COP is not just side events. It's not just press conferences. It's not just the new reports. It is in fact a negotiation area. Therefore, our voice when the nations get together and decide is important to be heard. And that is through LGMA interventions. We have several opportunities. The challenge is that sometimes there are numerous examples, experiences. We are scheduled to deliver a 2-minute intervention. We're all ready, speakers ready, text is ready, but just 5 minutes before, chair says that, sorry, the session is extended, we cannot give you the floor. This is possible. Or you schedule yourself for 3 p.m. in the afternoon, but it is 10 p.m. and the session still not started because negotiations are going on. Therefore, there's a challenge to deliver those statements in appropriate, let's say, physical shape and physical presence, and the right person who is able to do that. Obviously, it is very hard to ask leaders, especially political leaders, to wait for hours and hours in such conditions just for 2 minutes. Therefore, we have to be realistic and we have to be careful in terms of how we will nominate who, but we will collectively decide on that, of course. The ones that are concrete and the ones that are expected to be the least problematic is the opening and closing statements. So for the opening on the 31st of October, we would like to give the priority to Glasgow City Council or Scottish Government. The afternoon, when the subsidiary body negotiations start, we may consider some of the technical discussions that intervention can be delivered by other LGMA partners. We will have a number of opportunities in the open dialogue with the presidencies. On the 6th of November, we will have this open and also closing statements. And we again recommend this to be delivered by diversity of LGMA networks. On the 10th of November, at the high-level segment, we want to have the highest level of our leadership, and that for us is the First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon. If her calendar enables, we would like to nominate her, because this is the most prestigious in terms of the way this statement is delivered. It is from the podium. It is much more respectful. So that is our recommendation. And the closing at the COP26, we still don't know exact timing. It is scheduled for the Friday, but it can be extended. That is not unusual. We also want to make this as the segue to the African COP. Therefore, we would like to encourage or invite the Rwanda Local Government Association, who is one of the partners of the LGMA on the way to COP26, to deliver this so that we can also be preparing ourselves for an African COP. So this is our proposals at the moment. And now let's go to our last 5 minutes. So for the past couple of months, we have been working with all of you, and above all, we'd like to express our deepest appreciation to Scottish Government. Let's be realistic. All these financial and technical bureaucracies, if there was not a solid support from Scottish Government, we will not be able to do it. So we are very proud of the collaboration with Scottish Government. We're grateful for their, let's say, commitment and hospitality. Obviously, Glasgow City Council is also working with us, but for the Blue Zone, this space wouldn't be possible without Scottish Government. But we are very happy that so diverse networks and partners have been working with us through their own resources. They've contributed to the financial costs, which is huge, but also thematically, the diversity of the sessions and the topics to be discussed. We are very proud that LGMA the home of the cities and subnationals, the home of the constituency, is truly reflecting our strength and diversity. And the good news, it is also hybrid, so that there will be voices from around the world, even though they're not physically present in Glasgow. We are also grateful for session partners who are participating in the design of the sessions with or without funding, but we are very proud this collaboration. Here is a snapshot what to expect. You can see, I mean, all the COPs are similar to each other. It's a whole big hole, but here the wall coatings or this atmosphere gives you that we are in Scotland. You would see that this is a transparent area. You would see that we will have silent theater, that the speakers will be able to communicate to the microphone, and the audience, which is around 35 maximum, can listen to that. There will be opportunities that translators can also whisper to the microphone channel, so that translation will also be possible without further challenges. There will be screens where our partners will be also showing their updated information. On the screens, you will also be showing your PowerPoints or slides, and this will be fully webcasted. And that is where we are saying that there will be a virtual pavilion. Anywhere in the world, you can watch whatever is happening at the pavilion. We are using the hop-in platform, and where you would just like to register yourself. The good news that it is already available. You can start to register yourself. We are working with our partners that this list of events that you are now seeing in thematic wise, and here session by session, will be available starting from Monday onwards, which you can see now. We are talking about 70 sessions. And all of them are now booked. There is only one slot left, which is also very, very motivating for all of us, that we have a solid and very diverse enthusiasm. And we are very grateful for all our partners for their patience, their motivation, their flexibility with us, so that we are able to show our voices to the Blue Zone delegations. The space is open. Whoever has any Blue Zone tickets, badges, they can come and show and join us, as long as the capacity wise. The sessions are around 90 minutes. And in the 90 minutes, we would like to make sure that 15 minutes is also reserved for the hygiene and safety and cleaning requirements. And then if we look at this map now, what we are able to see is that on the 31st of October, there will be no event in the pavilion. We will have a press conference to celebrate World Day. This is important. For the first time, COP is starting on the day of World Cities Day. For us, this is also meaningful because that is a starting of a new era. We are saying that 31st of October is not opening 2 weeks of Climate COP, but in fact, opening a new era for multi-level collaboration. On that day, we are checking with Scottish Government whether we can have a social gathering at the Scottish Government Lighthouse building. We will provide more details on that. Pavilions will be open starting from 1st of November onwards, Monday onwards. Official opening will be by Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, starting from 4 p.m. onwards. Every day we will have daily briefings. We will have multi-level collaboration according to different continents. We will have different teams, like Edinburgh Process for Biodiversity will be coming to this scene. Glasgow Food Declaration will be coming to the scene. We will listen several announcements, several MOUs, like the Subnational Fund in Latin America and globally, or Just Transition Alliance would be announced here in this space. On the 11th of November in the evening, we will go to the Glasgow City Chambers with a capacity of 100 people to celebrate all our 2 weeks of engagement, but also opening the new phase. At lunch, before the lunch on the 12th, we will also connect to Brussels, to the Committee of the Regions conference on local deals going global, and there will be a connection from the pavilion to this global event as well. Of course, in parallel, you will have events in the pavilions. For example, the Marrakesh Partnership event will be happening around these days. On the Cities and Regions and Built Environment Day, there will be several events in the UK pavilion. The Marrakesh Partnership event will be held in the City Hall of Glasgow. On the afternoon, we will have another exciting event of Greater Manchester and City of Glasgow. And obviously numerous receptions and other things will be happening. You may have seen that yesterday we have circulated the first list of the delegation. We are talking about around 300 local and regional governments across the world being present physically in Glasgow. And we're talking about, at the moment, we have mapped 120 events. We are expecting this can go up to 200 across this 2 weeks, inside Blue Zone, outside Blue Zone. And we will do our best that we make this available. But obviously, we are primarily focusing on the pavilion, but we will try to make sure that the daily bulletins, you will also hear some updates. But it will be a challenge to follow all these activities as well. So with this, maybe I give a break. That there are several feedbacks on the chat box and Q&A box. So I will try to cover all of them. And I thank you for your patience. First of all, Jennifer has typed in thanking for our communication of this complex process. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm happy that it is also in the best possible way. Yes, there's nothing to laugh, because if we can take this everything serious, it is depressing. And I have never been in such a mode. Therefore, I'm trying to take it from the bright side. But it is serious that if these daily tests, for example, takes up the reality, if you're tested positive, if your return flight is the day after, you may not be allowed to go back, because you will not be allowed to leave your quarantine. And who will pay your hotel cost? Who will pay your flight cost? Nobody knows. Be prepared. This kind of surprises may happen. Eloise from Regions 4, city reception on 11th. Is there a limit? Yes, there is a limit. It's around 100, and we will work with all of you. It will be on a case by case, and Eloise, we would get back to you on that. But please type in your delegation information in the LGMA tracking sheet so that we can at least have an idea. Kobe from ICLE Africa is sending us congratulations. Thanks, Kobe. Obviously, we are looking at the biodiverse space, which is impressive in the way we are recognized and engaged. We hope climate negotiators will have lessons learned, and therefore we look forward to Scottish Government, the UK Presidency, and the CBD Secretary to help us. So let's see how we can plan for that. Leo from WRI and Ross Center, yes, this will be available. The links of this recording and as well as the presentation will be available soon, probably tomorrow. Pete Ritchie, great to meet you, Pete. I couldn't recall your name, but I think we will meet in Glasgow, hopefully. There are several inputs. Stefania from ICLE Africa Secretariat. Are tests provided by the UN, or each participant should individually find the place where to make it? It is a work in progress, Stefania. Stay tuned. We heard there will be tests available at the hotels, those who are from the system, but there will be some hubs where you can get those. So let's see. Roberto Rinaldi from the Committee of the Regions and the GCOM, strike by Scottish Rail. Shouldn't COP26 organizers foresee a bus between Edinburgh and Glasgow? A very common sense question, and a very common sense answer should be yes, but we cannot guarantee, because so far there was no announcement. And let's remember, use of shuttle bus has always been a practice, and I'm surprised this is not announced yet. But I hope this is not seen as a reaction to the strike of the workers. Obviously, when we're talking about just transition, there are questions you can argue. Why did they choose this week or that week, timing-wise? But still, shuttle bus should be implemented with or without a strike. That's our position, at least. Richard McLernan, Belfast. Yeah, Richard, hi, great to see you. You have been discussing with the communication. Belfast is a new member of ICLE. We would like to welcome Belfast, yes. We have a small delegation in Green Zone on the 10th and 11th of November. Lord Mayor of Belfast is there, fantastic. Richard, please insert the availability dates of your delegation into this tracking sheet, and there will be several events that we hopefully can still connect to you. And great news that Belfast is a member of ICLE and also part of the huge UK cities and regions in the mobilization to COP26. We have partners LGA, COSLA, UK 100, Core Cities UK. So it's a huge mobilization from UK cities and regions. So congratulations to all of you. Pamela Vernin, thanks for the presentation. Lyon Metropole, yes, we heard. We are looking forward to welcome you there, or at least meet you there. We are not that host yet in Glasgow. The roundtable 10 and 11, let's connect. Let's because it's still possible to update. I'm sure there will be opportunities. As far as I know, Lyon is one of those aggressively ambitious cities. We had on the way to Paris, the Lyon Summit. There is a new green leadership, I guess, in Lyon. So a lot of new information coming from Lyon, I guess. Jennifer, who should we connect to for the LGMA tracker? Jennifer, Anthony, you are all receiving the links, so you should be able to link and connect and feed into this. But if you have any problem, just alert us, and we can respond to you. So that we can help on that. So Pete is from Nourish Scotland. Sorry, Pete. So of course, I couldn't recall your surname, Pete. Yes, we are very happy to have a food community from Glasgow joining us from Nourish Scotland. Yes, thanks for the advice. There will be buses from Edinburgh to Glasgow. Let's see, because shuttle buses mean free, and obviously normal buses are not free. So we hope the UK presidency will offer free shuttle buses as well. So, and Jennifer also is saying that in Sweden, there was also during COP15, remember, yes, Copenhagen, the famous one, transport strike. Well, I mean, of course, workers also have the legitimacy to use all the opportunities. Nobody can blame them as such. I remember I was staying in Malmö and taking daily train in the middle of morning at 6 a.m., freezing cold, going to the Copenhagen COP venue. Luckily, I was not that much distracted by the strike there. So I think, so let me conclude in the sense that actually we have still 12 minutes to go. This is a webinar that is possible for live interventions as well. Anyone who wants to intervene, feel free to unmute yourself or turn on your camera so that we can engage you into the discussion. I see a hand raised. Let me see, who is that?
Hi.
Heloise,
Hi,
please go ahead.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much, because I think what you've done with the multi-level action pavilion is absolutely wonderful, given all the restrictions. So a big thank you to you and your team. It's very comprehensive. Maybe two things. First thing is I wanted to know if you had some more updates about the official site event that we're organizing together on the 8th of November. And please let us know how we can support you in securing speakers. And then the other thing is we are launching for regions to accept and review a statement from regional governments. And I will be able to send you the final statement, hopefully by the 20th of October. It's just so that you know, and you can use also in your messaging for the COP. And it takes some of the messages that you obviously have as the LGMA constituency. Yep. So it's just to let you know that there is a statement coming in. Thank you very much.
Excellent. I think, Hello, that's good that you mentioned it, because let's go back to the LGMA, let's say, I mean, we wanted to make it as flexible and broad so that everyone can find themselves in, but also very specific for the UNFCCC process. But we are aware every network, every organization have their own statement, announcement. We all welcome them. We will do our best to communicate this you would see Glasgow Food Declaration, you would see Edinburgh Declaration. Just in the morning, CMR said that they have their statements. There will be several announcements coming up, Regions 4, Under 2 coalition. So this is a diversity. We assume none of them is contradicting to these 4 principles that we have been listing here. And obviously, it is the diversity in unity, and this diversity also strength. And of course, especially all the themes of the presidency, be it energy, be it resilience, loss and damage, we have to be more specific as well. And we have several initiatives going on, feeding on into each. There are migration related statements coming up as well. So it is possible and it is normal that there are different voices, but the key message I think is not changing, is not contradicting to any of them. So that's why I would be eager to give space for all of them to the extent possible, and that's why you have spaces in the pavilion so that you can also directly share your inputs and outputs as well. So thanks. Heloise from Regions 4 was the speaker who just intervened. Claude from Quebec, greetings, Claude. Could you send off a daily program via the mailing list? Yes, we will send. And Claude, just to recall you, just yesterday, I actually sent this to Jean Lemire, this information. We have a new partner in the pavilion space. There is a big mobilization from the Canadian cities who are preparing for the COP, and they have now scheduled time for multi-level action for Canada on the Thursday 4th, and I'm sure they will reach out to Quebec government, to Canadian government, so that you can all be joining this session. We have seen Canada is one of the frontiers of multi-level collaboration, so it will be good really to listen to you and have your visibility there. So feel free to also convey this to your colleagues. David, hi David, from Mannheim. Is something like a WhatsApp group for those who are in Glasgow to share practical info? Yes, this is coming up, both for partners, but also delegations. We have heard concerns. Some people have declined to use WhatsApp because of the security issues. We tried to use Telegram for a while. It was not very good, so we'll check with that. I will consult with my colleague Ariel, who could help us to define the best platform, and we are eager to hear your contribution and suggestions as well. Anne from Geneva Cities Hub, great to see you joining us. Anne is a newcomer to COP, so great to have all these explanations. One thing that interests us: to what extent can local governments take part in negotiations? That negotiations engagement is a bit much harder this year because access to the negotiation rooms is even restricted. So many observers will be invited to follow the negotiations virtual rooms. That's what we have observed. This COP is particularly an in-person for negotiators, but most cases virtual for observers. So this year it's much harder. But let's see, let's stay in touch. Anne, I heard that you will be attending COP. Geneva Cities Hub as well as one of the new initiatives that is coming from City of Geneva and other partners in Geneva, especially with UN, European Regional Economic Commission, UNECE. You are doing a great job. And we know in the agenda, we also included your breakfast meeting on the 3rd. Which is by invitation only, but we hope there will be a lot of local and regional governments, especially from UNECE region, which we believe it's around, on that day, around 30 or so is available there. Let's connect to that on that. Pamela, reaching to, yes, Pamela, which organization are you, if you can type it, because usually we are going through the networks, but I'm more than happy to share my contacts to you as well. But in the website of the website, you would see technical contacts, communications contacts, but also political contacts as well. Judy, I would say thank you for your, in such challenging times, taking the time to share all this information. Will there be a post-COP webinar to reflect? Obviously, yes, this is the 26th webinar. 26th COP, and every year we're having this monthly webinar since the last 4 years or so. So we will continue. Hopefully Glasgow is not the end, but of course kicking off a new era. So definitely we will have a debrief, and then we will go towards COP27 in Africa with even bigger expectations that urban Africa, urban world will be even stronger in Africa as well. The Canadian convener yes, Megan Ickley's country director for Canada. Thanks for joining us. She has typed the website of the Canadian Cities Network for the COP. That is particularly really impressive. I joined their last preparatory talks. Yes, Simon Fraser University is coordinator on their behalf, and there will be a numerous of their members at the pavilion on the 4th. Neda from Barcelona, thanks for joining us. I have checked the list of cities. Barcelona consular in the 10 to 12. Yes, we can include definitely. Just we will update. This was the first draft, Neda. Definitely it will be updated soon. Pamela from Lyon Metropole, thanks a lot. I am in touch with one of your colleagues, as I think we have included you in the mailing list, but we will get back to you on that. Yes, an additional chat box. Yes, Anne is responding on the breakfast. Great. Africa COP, Kobe. Yes, we're excited. Let's remember, 31st of October will be celebrated in Luxor, Egypt, which is expected to be the host of the next Africa COP. And COP in Egypt for biodiversity also created a fantastic Sharm el-Sheikh agenda. So we are literally looking forward to leadership from Africa. You all remember we had an idea of urbanization ministerial taking place in COP26. This year we couldn't make it, but I'm confident we will do it with African Union, with African local and regional governments, with African negotiators and African cities and regions. We will make sure that we will kick off the new era in Glasgow. We will go through Katowice for the World Urban Forum, and we will come to Egypt probably, where we will have the first urbanization and climate ministerial probably, and the paving of this process is already taking place. Thanks for the leadership of ICLEI Africa and all African cities and regions. Yes, definitely, this is the hope that we want to give. Whatever happens in Glasgow, as I said, it can even be stopped in the middle of the whole 2 weeks because of the increase of corona cases. So we don't want to limit ourselves to what will come out of COP. Obviously, it will help us, but whatever comes from COP in Glasgow, it will not stop us. The glass ceiling is broken. Multi-level action is in force. We just want to make it massively implemented all around the world, and we just want it much faster and much broader. That is the key message that will come from the LGMA multi-level action pavilion, and we are very proud that collectively we are making this as a success story. So any Edinburgh, any additions? I'm trying to check anyone who has raised their hands. I don't see any. I think we are getting close to our session. We thank you all for your participation and motivation and contribution. Once again, a huge thanks for Scottish Government for the pavilion, a huge thanks for Glasgow hosting us, and all the partners who have made this efforts, these dreams come true with all your contributions, patience, perseverance, and we are confident that we will make another remarkable appearance and bring the voice that climate emergency, urban world is taking up. We need more hands on deck, and we will do this. We have already started to do this, but we will do it much better from COP26 onwards. With this, greetings to all of you. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, and be aware more updates are coming through the LGMA mailings because a lot of things are still unclear. And we wish you the best of patience, and stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in good conditions in Glasgow, and have a safe way back. And those who will join us, I believe the luxurious ones who will be remotely connecting to us from their homes or offices, just please share your support in social media and others platforms so that we can make a good noise in Glasgow. So take care and bye-bye.